And a very happy Thursday to you at 12:07 in the West. It's the John Phillips Show. Mr. Randy Wang's in Culver City.
John, we start today's show with a major announcement. 790 KABC is the flagship station for this show, and now 790 KABC is the flagship station of the UCLA Bruins Auto Network. The UCLA Department of Athletics has signed a multi-year agreement with Cumulus Media and Talk Radio 790 KABC to serve as the flagship station for the UCLA Bruins Audio Network, broadcast beginning on August 30th with UCLA's home football game against Utah at the Rose Bowl. KABC is going to be carrying UCLA football, UCLA men's basketball in February and March, even a few UCLA women's basketball games, and will be carrying 28 episodes of the weekly Bruin Insider Show every Thursday at 7.
And this news is endorsed by both Lou Alcindor and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
790 KABC, the new home of the UCLA Bruins.
You know, Randy, you and I should celebrate this news by having dinner over at the Valley Inn in Sherman Oaks in the John Wooden Room.
There you go. Love that place. Get the fried chicken.
Ooh, I'll have the pork chop. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. Well, we have some emerging news from the city of Los Angeles surrounding LA's response to the wildfires that broke out in Pacific Palisades just after New Year's. We know that the mayor was at the presidential inauguration in Ghana, despite being warned that there was fire risk and high winds here in Los Angeles. Well, when she came back, she needed a fall person, and that fall person ended up being the chief of the LA Fire Department, Christian Crowley. The fire chief not only spoke with the news media about the fires, she spoke candidly, including talking about the budget cuts that LA Mayor Karen Bass imposed on the fire department, and the chief acknowledged that those cuts impacted their ability to respond to those fires. The mayor didn't like the fire chief saying that publicly, and not long after the fire chief made those remarks, the fire chief was given her walking papers. But Randy, the fire chief has now responded.
Here we are 6 months after Kristen Crowley was demoted as Los Angeles fire chief, and she has filed a legal claim against Karen Bass, alleging a campaign of misinformation, defamation, and retaliation in Karen Bass's efforts to scapegoat Kristen Crowley for all of the city's failures during the fire.
Good for her. And I know the trial hasn't even started yet, but I can verify that all of those claims are true.
For more on this legal claim and the implications, here's a report from KCAL in Los Angeles.
Now, former LA Fire Chief Kristen Crowley files a legal claim against the city and Mayor Bass. KCAL News reporter Ross Palumbo is following this case.
This is the claim right here, 23 pages long, and in it, the former chief lays out serious allegations of retaliation that came from a mayor who was herself under fire for her handling of this crisis.
2 days after the fire began, even before it was out, before all 2,300 acres had burned, before a total of 7,000 structures and homes were destroyed.
Mayor.
Which, by the way, Karen Bass was celebrating the other day with Conan Nolan that 50 are being built.
Oh, good for you, Karen.
Mayor, can we ask a question?
Former Chief Kristen Crowley says the mayor began retaliating against her for her comments on budget cuts.
That was a $17 million budget cut from our current budget, 25-26.
Initially, Crowley refused to contradict the mayor, claiming cuts didn't contribute to problems fighting the fire.
But, Chief, the mayor said this morning it did not affect this emergency. Did it affect this emergency?
But the very next day, she broke her silence.
And that's when Karen Bass couldn't trust her anymore, because she spoke the truth and didn't toe the company line that Karen Bass did nothing wrong.
You get in more trouble with the truth in this town than you do with a lie.
Oh, it's even more than that. You know, yesterday the LA City Council was having a nonsensical debate about wanting to talk about ending the state of emergency on homelessness because it makes Karen Bass not accountable to anything that she's doing and all the money that she's wasting on Inside Safe. And Monica Rodriguez of the Northeast Valley openly said, Karen Bass has never done a homeless encampment cleanup in my district because I don't kiss her ass.
I believe it, too.
Did and has and will continue to severely impact our ability to repair our apparatus.
Yes, the budget cuts, which included a hiring freeze on mechanics, caused a whole bunch of fire trucks to be inoperable and not usable on the fire. Crowley is also straight up saying that when Karen Bass says Crowley sent home 1,000 firefighters, she's saying that that's a straight up lie and that's defamation.
Well, there's also the fact that there were $7 million in cuts to overtime hours. That happened before the fires. And Crowley went to the Fire Commission and said, if you actually impose $7 million in cuts and overtime, if there's a big fire, we're not going to be able to respond to it properly. She, of course, was ignored. And what did Karen Bass use that money for? Well, Randy, we talked about that last week.
There is a almost $8 million budget now for the Los Angeles City Department of Civil Rights, Human Rights, and Equity, and their latest campaign is a bunch of bus benches that say, just say hello.
So we didn't have the money for overtime for firefighters to fight fires because, that would go to protect homeowners in the middle class. But we have money, $8.5 million for Karen Bass to indulge herself in DEI nonsense.
Just say hello, everyone. Unless, your home burned down and then you've been living in Orange County for the last 6 months.
Those people said goodbye.
After a tense private meeting, the mayor and chief seemed to be working together.
That was the meeting where she was going to fire the fire chief, but too many people leaked that she was going to fire the fire chief. So instead, she gave her a stern talking to, but then the very next day, Crowley disinvited from the press conferences, and Karen Bass's handpicked puppet, Ronnie Villanueva, was there already as interim fire chief before she fired the fire chief.
Well, that was Daniel Gus who screwed that up because he broke the story in the Daily Mail that the firing was a coming. And Karen Bass saw that piece in the Daily Mail and didn't want to make it look like Gus was on to her.
After a tense private meeting, the mayor and chief seemed to be working together.
So everything is copacetic between you and the mayor, right?
We are focused, I can tell you, right now, here and now. Absolutely focused.
Does she need an assist?
Shangy, you're not doing anything right now, are you? Of course not.
We are focused, I can tell you, right now, here and now. Absolutely focused.
Thanks, Shang.
Had to sometimes take her off the sidelines.
On what we need to do.
But 6 weeks later, the mayor demoted her, saying she was, quote, acting in the best interest of the city.
I just met with Chief Crowley and removed her as fire chief.
Now, 6 months later, Crowley...
And if you wonder, well, there were a lot of problems during that fire, including all the problems with the DWP, whether it was the miscommunication about all the broken fire hydrants, the fact that the fire hydrants in the Palisades didn't have water, or the reservoir being empty. Why wouldn't Karen Bass also fire Janice Quinones of the LADWP? Because Quinones was a Karen Bass hire, and so she would look bad. Crowley was a Garcetti hire, so she can throw her under the bus.
How about Karen Bass's hand-picked liaison between the mayor's office and the fire department, Brian K. Williams, not the one that made stuff up on NBC, but a different guy. He was the Bass aide who was on administrative leave at the time for making fake bomb threats.
It's really a professional administration we've got here.
Now, 6 months later, Crowley has filed this claim against the city, alleging Mayor Karen Bass orchestrated a campaign of misinformation, defamation, and retaliation to protect her political image while concealing the extent to which she undermined public safety.
And remember, one of the claims, and it's the most laughable claim, and I know a lot has happened this year, and it's easy to forget what January was like, but Karen Bass alleged that the fire chief never told her about the wind.
It was on every channel in Los Angeles. And the fire chief has receipts of her department notifying the mayor's office that there was wind. But again, the liaison at the mayor's office was on administrative leave for fake bomb threats.
Karen Bass also self-describes herself as a news junkie and listens to boring-ass KNX all day long. KNX has weather updates every 5 minutes.
Well, I guess you can't get the signal in Ghana, can you?
Crowley saying she was accused of failing to notify the mayor of the weather event that exacerbated the fire.
Wasn't Karen Bass supposed to hold an investigation as to why she was allowed to go to Ghana?
Oh, yeah. And then when you ask her about the results of that investigation, she looks at you like she wants to kill you, and she gets real snippy.
Not using an additional 1,000 firefighters, keeping 40 fire engines on idle, and refusing to conduct an after-action report. Crowley says those claims are false.
Crowley says in the claim she was never even asked to do this after-action report.
Well, and then Bass came out recently and said that she's going to delay the results of the report.
Well, she says the feds have asked her to delay the results of the report because the feds are still trying to investigate the start of the fire, and they're worried that an LA City report might interfere with that investigation.
Okay, think about this for a second. Karen Bass, who is now trying to portray herself as the chief opponent of Donald Trump, is now going to delay releasing a report that is arguably the most impactful report she will release the entire time that she has spent as mayor because Donald Trump asked her for a favor? Are you kidding me?
What I think Chief Crowley is after is clearing her name.
Legal analyst Rachel Fissé believes the claim could actually help clear up what mistakes, if any, were made by the city itself.
The public will be made aware of the inner workings of the response from the city.
The most important part of this case is discovery. There's going to be a lot.
Didn't Karen Bass delete the text messages?
Why, yes, she did. She claimed she didn't know that her phone was set to auto-delete texts after 30 days.
How convenient.
And then when they finally got unearthed, remember there was all those bitchy texts between her and Lindsay Horvath?
Oh, yeah.
And Lindsay's like, this doesn't sound like locked arms to me.
She's the queen of passive aggressiveness.
And that is really something we still don't know.
Crowley is seeking an immediate retraction of false and defamatory statements, a formal and public apology from the mayor, and an end to all the ongoing retaliation. And although the claim doesn't mention a specific dollar amount, it does indicate that she's seeking something over $25,000.
The city's going to have to pony up quite a lot to make this go away, unless Crowley's trying to make a point here, which in case she might not want to settle.
Well, what was so weird about it was that Crowley wasn't fired. She was demoted. So she was removed as chief, but I guess she was put back on the line as a firefighter?
Yes, she was reassigned to a different position. She does have civil service protections, and actually going through the process of firing her would have not gone well for Karen Bass.
None of this is going to go well for Karen Bass.
If people remember this. A lot of people have forgotten about what happened in January. Not the victims in the Palisades, but a big portion of this city is all focused on all the other nonsense that happened this summer. And maybe they haven't paid attention to just how bad Karen Bass was at the beginning of the year.
Well, and I've mentioned this before. The number of people impacted by the fires in the Palisades is relatively small compared to the overall population of the city. As you mentioned before, many of those people have been forced to flee the city. They had to go to Santa Monica or Malibu or Orange County or another state. Many came to Palm Springs. And if you establish a residency somewhere else because you know it's going to take a long time to clean that up, you're going to vote somewhere else. You're going to vote in Orange County. You're not going to vote in Pacific Palisades. So the people who she is abusing with her incompetence don't have the ability to get back at her. And she's perfectly fine with that.
There is no mention of her seeking her job back from this veteran who's always lauded the work her fire crews did in the Palisades.
As their chief, I'm extremely proud of the work that our people did and continue to do.
Oh, that's when she made her case in front of the city council to appeal Karen Bass's firing, and the city council had no backbone.
Oh, yeah. If you take 15 empty glasses and you spend your time talking to those 15 empty glasses, you'd accomplish the same thing.
Outside of Tracy Park and Monica Rodriguez, that city council did not care.
The guy from the Valley can sometimes make sense.
John Lee.
But the three of them are all we have to work with.
The mayor's staff says she will not comment on any ongoing claim. The head of the LAFD Board of Fire Commissioners, though, Janitha Hudley-Hayes, tells me...
What is that name?
She came from the school board, didn't she?
Though, Janitha Hudley-Hayes.
Janitha Hudley-Hayes.
Yeah, I think she did come from the school board.
Tells me that all of this is, quote, unfortunate, but she does not believe Crowley suffered any retaliation. We did reach out to Crowley herself and her attorney and have not heard back. I'm Ross Palumbo, KCAL News.
So there's the latest on the legal claim that former fire chief of LAFD, Kristen Crowley, has filed against Karen Bass.
Here's what I assume is going to happen. If the details as to what happened over the course of those fires comes out, Karen Bass is going to look like an incompetent fool. And she plans on running for re-election, and she has no interest in that happening. My guess is she's going to want to drag this out as long as possible, hope that Crowley folds, and if Crowley doesn't fold, the city will give Crowley a payday sometime way in the future. Maybe even when Bass is out of office. They'll drag it out that long. Hey, Randy, what do you say we make a couple of listeners very happy?
Oh, this is fantastic. Here we go. 790 KABC welcomes Shocked, the Tony Award-winning musical comedy at the Hollywood Pantages Theater. I went to see it last night, and I laughed my butt off the entire time. It is really, really fun and completely ridiculous. It's running now through September 7th. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. But right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-795-2222 gets a pair of tickets to the show on August 28th. Tickets furnished by the Hollywood Pantages Theater. Good luck dialing.
If you'd like to email the show, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. And Randy, if you want to go back to yesterday's show and find out what prediction I made during the 12 o'clock hour, that's easy to do.
All you got to do is search for The John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's the Apple Podcasts app, iHeart, Spotify. Search for The John Phillips Show. Hit subscribe. You could download all the episodes. You could do a Google on the YouTube. You could get the KABC app. You could get the KSFO app. There are so many different ways to listen live to this radio station, download all your podcasts, or, as some people would say,
I listen to all the newses.
The Fix California Hour coming up after the news at 1. Randy Economy joins us. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Well, whenever we do stories about terror in communities where a bunch of teenagers decide they're going to cause problems, it usually involves e-bikes, where bikes just swarm a sidewalk, they swarm a mall, they swarm an area, and there's too many of them to keep track of, and they pretty much do whatever it is that they want to do, which is why the cops try to keep those e-bikes on the road in the lanes where they're supposed to be. And that goes for regular bikes and scooters and everything else, too. Well, in San Francisco, for whatever reason, the cops have decided to stop enforcing the rules. And now, if you're on a scooter or an e-bike or a bicycle and you want to ride on the sidewalk, I guess it's anything goes.
They do call it Anything Goes San Francisco. And for ABC7, when they saw this story, they knew they needed Leanne Melendez for another classic. Here is ABC7 in the Bay Area.
Around the Bay Area, traffic safety advocates are calling for strong regulations around e-bikes. And on the streets of San Francisco, bicycles and scooters on sidewalks are a frequent threat to pedestrians.
So we wondered, how bad is this problem, and who are these rogue riders to begin with? ABC.
Hey, good alliteration right there. Rogue riders.
who are these rogue riders to begin with? ABC 7 Building a Better Bay Area reporter Leanne Leonard hit the pavement to find out. I assume it's people that don't want to risk going out into the street and, risking injury.
Right. And what I found was it's a huge problem on San Francisco streets, especially in the financial district, downtown.
The bicyclists don't want to get run over by cars, so they go to the sidewalks where they run over the pedestrians.
Okay, some of those bikes can go 50 miles an hour. Do you know what would happen to you if you're a pedestrian and you got hit by a bike going 50 miles an hour?
And, on Reddit...
Let me tell you what you'd look like.
What's that?
I know a guy who's about, 5'10", and he told me that he has a huge crush on the basketball player Caitlin Clark, and that he would like to have, he's a married man, so this is just in a fantasy world, he would like to have a roll in the hay with her. And I said to him, she's like 6 feet tall. And he said, yeah, I don't care. I think that's hot. And I said, if you had sex with a woman who is 6 feet tall, you'd look like you were in a car accident.
You were saving that one for a while, weren't you?
True story.
And, on Reddit, pages and pages of complaints.
Well, that is the Internet's complaint department.
Oh, yes. And a very prolific one at that.
It doesn't matter what the topic is, it will devolve into bitchiness every single time. I should know all the times I look into the Reddit/award travel section.
People writing either slow down for pedestrians or stay off the sidewalk. But it's illegal to ride a bicycle or scooter on the sidewalk. Police are supposed to enforce this, but they don't.
Just like with expired car registration.
And pretty much anything else.
And it turns out even these very low-level quality of life infractions, if they're not enforced, people don't care anymore.
And when word gets out, everyone does it.
San Francisco's reputation lies in its anything-goes attitude. But even the most tolerant people are tired of having to look behind and in front for movable objects on the sidewalk.
Oh, a couple times from behind me. You tell them, whoa, where you come from?
I mean, one of the charms of San Francisco is it's actually a walkable city, unlike anything in Los Angeles. And the fact that now people are getting afraid to walk around because of all the scooters and bikes, unacceptable.
You know how paranoid I would be if every time I got out of the car and got on the sidewalk to pick up my dry cleaning, I had to worry about Lance Armstrong, who just juiced up, running me over.
We've heard that if you spend some time on Market Street, you'll catch a few people on their scooters and bicycle, etc.
At night, you'll also catch some streetwalkers.
Well, not just at night. Sometimes outside the elementary school during the day.
No, that's Oakland. That's International Boulevard in Oakland.
I love how you have the street memorized.
I know my streets. I memorize the streets where all the prostitution is. The big one in San Francisco for a long time was Cap Street, and then they built those barriers, and then it moved on to Market.
Now, I know you're a news junkie, and I know you have a mind that just never forgets anything. However, if you know all the details about every story involving prostitution, I'd keep some of that to myself because you might get the third degree when you come home, young man.
Riding illegally on the sidewalk. So let's hang out.
She's doing a stakeout to see how many people are illegally riding on the sidewalk on Market.
Yeah, well, she's braver than us. There is 0% chance you and I would ever do that. Our health insurance isn't that good.
By the way, there's a portion of Market that's closed off to cars. Screw you, bicyclists.
How does that phrase go? Like shooting fish in a barrel?
Hey guys, you're not supposed to use a sidewalk. Excuse me, you're not supposed to use the sidewalk.
She's going to say that phrase a lot.
The sidewalk is for pedestrians. Excuse me, you're not supposed to use the sidewalk.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I kind of feel like a Karen sometimes, but...
Well, you know, Nancy Pelosi likes to confront people about being a Karen.
Well, yes, she does.
Karen, why are you doing this?
But in Leanne's defense, she is just trying to remind people what the law is.
That's true. She's Karen adjacent, let's say.
I kind of feel like a Karen sometimes, but...
Also, no Karen ever self-identifies as a Karen.
Oh, no. They're too busy wanting to speak to the manager.
I kind of feel like a Karen sometimes, but it's got to be told.
Accidents do happen, like this one, when a woman was hit by a man on a scooter. He fled the scene.
Of course, because why not?
Hit and run on the sidewalk.
The San Francisco Transportation Code specifically states that bicycle riding on sidewalks is prohibited except for children under the age of 13. And there is no enforcement, at least not while we were there. Ironically, the nonprofit Walk San Francisco, which advocates for safe streets, did not want to address this ongoing problem with us.
Oh, no, of course, because those are the people that just want bike lanes everywhere.
Oh, yeah. Riding a bike on the sidewalk is illegal, just like lighting off fireworks. Randy, you and I were up there on 4th of July a year ago. Does anyone follow the rules?
No. And the thing is, these highly connected bicycle advocacy groups that allow for all this nonsense, like the road diets you see in Southern California, closing the Great Highway in San Francisco, the last thing they ever want to admit is that bicyclists can be bad.
No.
That bicyclists can run red lights, can run stop signs, and can run people over on the sidewalk. Bicyclists can do no wrong in their eyes.
Oh, yes, and they will not give an inch on any argument at all.
Trish and Lawrence Weiner live nearby in the Soma neighborhood. They can't understand.
Also a neighborhood full of prostitution.
I told you, don't appear to be too knowledgeable about that subject.
Isn't that close to the Hilton you stayed at?
What are you implying?
Just that that's where that Hilton is.
Uh-huh.
That's all I was implying.
Uh-huh.
I'm getting my bearings about the city.
Move on.
They can't understand why the sidewalk is being used when San Francisco spent millions in putting 2.2 miles of bicycle lanes on Market Street and limited vehicle traffic as part of the Better Market Street project.
By the way, Daniel Lurie, excellent new mayor of San Francisco, announced that he is reopening part of that Market Street corridor to Waymos and Ubers.
Well, I'll tell you, whenever they shut down the streets in Los Angeles for bicycles, Cicla Via is a big deal. You ever been stuck in that before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. What you do is you create bottlenecks for cars all over the city. And that really is the objective for these people. They want to make driving a car such a pain in the keister that you finally cry uncle and you ride the train and the buses or you ride a bicycle.
It's dangerous because you're not really tuned into that while you're walking, and they go fast. So.
Well, now with the scooters and everything, it's not like a regular bicycle.
A lot of these are practically motorized vehicles that are now going on the sidewalk.
What's the difference between an e-bike and, I don't know, a car? Because if they can go the same speeds, why would you regulate it differently? And they're occupying the same spaces.
A pedal bicycle. They got the e-bikes and they have these scooters. And a lot of times...
By the way, and sometimes people will say, you know, the e-bikes are only supposed to go 20 miles an hour. Every teenager in the state that has an e-bike has seen the TikTok video on how to modify your e-bike so you can go 50 miles an hour.
I've never seen one go 20 miles an hour, not once.
And a lot of times they whiz by you and, you know...
They just miss you.
You're lucky.
Have you ever been sort of like a near-miss situation?
Yes, just this morning.
5R, Fulton Rapids to Ocean Beach.
Some cyclists say the proximity to buses on Market Street can be somewhat unnerving and find...
Wait a second. The reason the bicyclists don't want to use the bike lanes is not because of the cars, it's because of the buses?
Oh, yeah. It's too dangerous for them, so they want to go 50 miles an hour on a sidewalk filled with pedestrians.
and find that the sidewalk is, at times, safer.
I hope all the multimodal advocates out there understand that we're not all going to live in harmony.
No, it's safer, of course, for them.
When the bus is coming from this way, you have to, be careful about that. And if the bus is coming next to you, you have to, be careful about that.
We found that the worst offenders are the delivery people on e-bikes or motorized scooters.
It's all the Uber Eats people.
They're risking everyone's life so you can get your quarter pounder with cheese.
Look at this guy. Excuse me, this is for pedestrians, not for, motorcycles or whatever that is.
I mean, if your livelihood is making those deliveries on time, you might be cutting through some sidewalks and some side streets every chance you can.
Well, you got to get the pizza there within 30 minutes or it's free.
Ride-sharing bicycle and scooter companies have it printed right there. No sidewalk riding.
Yeah, but who's enforcing that?
No one.
We contacted 3 delivery companies, DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub. They each insisted that delivery people are given guidelines as part of their signing agreement.
Nobody reads that.
No, they're like those online sexual harassment courses.
Nobody reads those.
And told that all local regulations must be followed. DoorDash said they even send reminders.
So here's another comment on Reddit. As a cyclist, I'm sorry. People like that are the reason we get a bad reputation in the city. Now,
that is rare, where a cyclist will admit that some cyclists are total a-holes.
Yeah, that's the first time I believe I've ever heard that.
Michael Schneider, are you listening? That's the guy behind Streets for All.
Now, New York City also has an e-bike problem on the streets, riding too fast and riding also on the sidewalks. Now, New York has proposed a 15-mile-an-hour speed limit and possibly requiring registration and licensing for e-bikes.
So there's the latest on the e-bikes, the scooters, and the bicyclists taking over the sidewalks of San Francisco.
Imagine getting hit by one of those things, because if you get hit by a car or something of that nature, you can tell people what happened and you don't feel embarrassed about it. But if you have tire tread marks on your face and you got a bell in your hair and the woman in the ER said, "What happened to you?" and your answer is, "I got run over by E.T., you don't think for 1 second they're not going to snicker in the break room? Adding insult to injury. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Mike in San Jose. Mike, hello.
Good afternoon. I think the bicyclists and the pedestrians in San Francisco should just say hello. Just like L.A.
Well, at least then they would know that you're coming.
Yes, sir. Have a great day.
We might have to spend $8.5 million, though, for them to be aware of that greeting.
Don't give them any ideas up there. They just cut a bunch of their nonsensical nonprofits.
Let's go to Paul in San Francisco. Paul, hello.
Yes, I think the main reason the police don't harass or enforce the law, and Walk SF doesn't say anything about the electric bikes on the sidewalk, is many that riders are delivering food and they're Latino, and the last thing you want to be considered in San Francisco is a racist. And that's, I believe, one of the main reasons.
Well, that's certainly behind why they do not blow the whistle on expired tags, because Absolutely. They do not want negative interactions between the cops and individuals that would then end up on the news, and you'd have the video all over the place and accusations of racism, and they're just not interested in that. And you're right. I think that from their decision-making standpoint, there is a racial component to everything. And something as simple as trying to keep pedestrians safe by keeping bicycles off the sidewalks, which there really isn't a racial component to that, maybe in their own jaundiced worldview, that's something that impacted their decision-making. Thank you for the call, sir. All right, we've got 2 more hours coming up on the John Phillips Show. The Fix California hour is next. Randy Economy joins us. Don't you go anywhere.